Hey guys, my name is Daniel Rintjema. I am a project manager at eThereLIVE, the streaming division of Soundbox Productions. I'm just going to be answering a couple questions about virtual streaming and virtual production recording just to get some info out there. Where is the meeting happening? Good question. It's actually taking place in the cloud, in the Matrix. We're all in the Matrix. No, actually, just kidding. In reality, the event is just taking place across just a larger geographical distance. Everyone's logging in to present and participate are as much a part of the virtual event as they would be if we were all here together. We're just using technology and the amazing things that we've been able to come up with the past few years to bridge that physical gap and still bring everyone together to do their presentations and conversations. Is my background okay? The answer to that is probably, because everyone's coming from a different place. You're logging in different times of the day even, so lighting's going to be different, but probably. Another big point to speak to that is because of the pandemic, many people have had to switch to a work from home model, which means taking meetings from home, doing your calls from home, anything related to work. Then you probably already have a nice spot in your place to join the virtual production from. But if not, don't worry, you can easily transform almost any location into a suitable live streaming spot. Step one, we don't want to see your laundry in the background. We don't want to see dirty dishes. Just clean it up in general, of course. But more seriously though, avoid clutter. We want to make sure the frame in your background is as clean as possible, with maybe just a couple items there, some plants, maybe a single picture on the wall just to give some depth to the frame. But we don't want to see too much busyness in the frame. Another thing is lighting is key. Particularly the biggest difference that you can make is we want to avoid any bright sources of light that are behind you, such as a bright window, or if you have a bright light in your room that might be behind you, you want to make sure that there's not really that much light coming behind you because it's going to make a silhouette. So we really want to make sure you've got enough light coming from you. So if you've got even a little desk lamp or something like that on your face, that will really help your camera get a nice view of you. How does a virtual recording work? That depends. There are a lot of different platforms and methods and ways of doing a virtual recording. So ultimately, it depends on what your needs are. Let's say, for example, you're wanting to record a virtual panel discussion with a group of people and maybe a PowerPoint presentation on screen. There's a couple different ways to do that. We can do this as simply as recording a Microsoft Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting that everyone is in, screen sharing the PowerPoint in there, and just recording that output. That will be the easiest, one of the most simple ways that we can accomplish that task. But a step up from that would be one of the options we have here is we have the studio control rooms. So through a customized web page, we can connect your computer at home directly to our control room where we can take the live feed from your camera and your mic and bring you right into the production. And that will allow us to add in graphics, custom backgrounds, lower third names, even if we need to add in videos and stuff like that. Can you hear me? Usually, yes. Technology is great. As I always say, when it works. But sometimes stuff goes awry, your audio devices won't recognize properly. Let's say you're coming into a virtual event, you've got a new mic, a higher quality mic to give yourself a little bit of better quality on your recording, and you're plugging it in and nothing's working. That's totally a thing that might happen. No worries. We have done that before, dealt with that. What we usually even do is we'll just say, hey, give us your phone number. We'll call you, walk you through it. We have experience with so many different platforms. We can walk you through getting that connected, no problem. Can I start over? Yes, technically, you can start over at any time, just as much as you could stop halfway through a TED Talk and start over. Yes, you can. But a live virtual event is still a live event, even if you can't see the audience. Even if you make a mistake or stutter, just be natural and you can carry yourself through it, no worries. But that might not always be the case. Sometimes it might be a virtual recording that we're doing where it's very easy to actually do a second take, start over, whatever we need to do, because it's as if we're just here on a film set. Another thing we do sometimes though is a live to tape recording where we're not actually streaming live anywhere, but we're pretending that the conversation or the presentation is live. In that case, even though we are just doing a recording, we'd want to try to go through the whole thing as if we're live. That way, no editing is needed. We can just take that file, maybe trim some off the top and the tail, but then it's good to go for the actual airing date. How do I make sure I don't cut out? First things first, joining a virtual production, you want to make sure you have a solid internet connection wherever you're joining from. I always recommend at least 10 megabits per second on the upload and the download on your connection, just to make sure that you're not going to drop out. And that's the minimum as well. So if someone else is watching Netflix or YouTube and you're trying to join, maybe just get them to stop and conserve as much bandwidth as you can, dedicated to your event. The second thing is making sure that the device you're logging in on can actually access that internet. We always want to recommend that you use an Ethernet cable with your computer, your laptop, instead of Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi technology is improving year after year. It's pretty robust these days, but nothing is going to beat the connection of having an Ethernet cable right into your modem. And if Ethernet isn't an option for you, don't worry. Just get as close to your modem or your Wi-Fi access point as possible. And one other note as well, we've had guests that are in hotels or motels, across the country. Usually they have higher internet plans that you can purchase. So if you're stuck in a hotel room and you have nowhere else to go, just double check if they have a business class internet or some sort of higher bandwidth. And I would definitely recommend picking that up as well. What kind of stuff will you direct me on? We will guide you through the whole process, basically. Right from logging into the call, we'll just give some introductions and say, hey, is the eThereLIVE text here. We're here to make sure you look and sound your best. Once everyone's logged in and we're all acquainted, from there we always run an audio check on everyone's mics individually, just to make sure we're getting the best possible sound. We'll also, at that point, make sure everyone else can hear each other, because that's also important, obviously, if you're going to be doing presentations and discussions amongst each other. It's also important to match up everyone's camera framing. So we'll say, hey, can you move your camera, your webcam up and down to get the height right so that no one on screen is taller or bigger. We'll also make sure the size of your faces are equal as well. So we might have to move the camera forward or back. We'll just generally go over everything to make sure you're looking good, as well as any lighting tips that we could recommend as well. I'm just using my laptop camera and microphone. Is that okay? So yes, that's probably going to be okay. Devices nowadays have decent microphones built into them. One thing you can do to kind of help that system work its best is if you've got a pair of headphones that will help the microphone work better, because when you have the meeting audio coming out of the speakers, it will sometimes loop back through the mic. And so what the mic does is it just lowers its volume whenever that happens, so it can kind of cause you to cut out. So one recommendation would be if you've got headphones, pop those in. That'll keep the microphone at a more consistent level. One thing you can do if you're actually looking to up the production quality of your setup a little bit, you can get USB microphones very inexpensively these days, and cameras are really coming down in price as well. Webcams, you can go to any local tech store and you can find a decent quality 1080p webcam as well that will really help up your production quality. Do I have to do anything to set up a broadcast? Once again, that depends on the type of broadcast we're doing, whether it's just in one Zoom meeting, let's say, or if we're doing a live stream out using a studio to Vimeo or some other white label player. That's something that we can totally take care of. We have Zoom accounts, we have Teams accounts, whether we need to host presenters, do a stream on Vimeo, or your own custom web page. That's all stuff that we can take care of in-house. Through our website, we can also customize the web page for the player according to all of your brand guidelines. So I would say, do I have to do anything? No, we will definitely take care of all of that for you. What materials should I hand off to you before a broadcast? Thinking back to a live event, there's a couple things that need to be prepared in advance. If you think of a live stage or a stage at a corporate meeting, often there is a specific color scheme, maybe some banners on stage for branding, or even specific colors of lighting that is on the stage that all matches your brand. So there's a similar workflow actually for virtual events. Because we can customize the background, the graphics, we would want to get all that created in advance according to your brand guidelines as well, to set the tone for the event. We can also add in custom intro or outro videos at the top or tail of your event, and even holding slides for breaks or intermissions in between if it's a longer event as well. And we'll work with you totally to get all this done in advance as well. Any assets or PowerPoints that you're using in the presentation definitely need to be sent to us in advance as well. That way we can have them all in our system. And PowerPoints especially, we always run those through on our computer at least one time to go through, buffer all the frames in the memory, and make sure there are no font errors or any weird things like that happening. I hope these questions and answers were helpful to you. If you've got any more, just leave a question in the comments below, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Ursula says, I'm a camera. Please, my battery is dying. I don't want to die. Help me. Oh dear. I'm sorry, Ursula.
Like, if we gave that thing a voice, I would hang out with it too much.
You would hang out with it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of weird.